The scent of mesquite smoke drifted through the streets of East Austin, wrapping the block like a warm blanket. Roy's Smoke Pit was the kind of place that made you turn your head while driving by. The grill hissed, music hummed from a dusty old speaker, and a line of eager customers wrapped around the block most weekends. They weren't just coming for brisket. They came for the Roy Boy, a burger so juicy, so tender, so unlike anything else in Texas. People drove hours for it. No one knew what made it taste so damn good. Not yet. This is True Crime Investigations, where we peel back the layers of the most unthinkable crimes ever committed. And this one you might not want to skip before dinner. Before we continue the story, please subscribe to this channel for more thrilling true crime stories. Also like and comment what country you are watching from. Now let us continue the story. Roy McMillan wasn't born a killer. He was raised into one, born in the dry belly of South Texas. Roy grew up behind the swinging doors of a failing butcher shop owned by his father, Jonah McMillan, a man with a hard jaw, quick fists, and a reputation for handling messes no one else would. Jonah taught Roy how to use a blade before he ever rode a bike. Clean-cut son, he used to say. Meat tells a story. You want to control that story. But Jonah's stories weren't always about beef. Sometimes strange men showed up after hours, their trucks loaded with things wrapped in blue tarps and silence. Roy didn't ask questions. He watched. He listened. He learned. By 17, Roy could dismantle a body, asterisk animal or otherwise asterisk, with surgical ease. By 25, he was alone. His father had vanished one summer night, leaving behind nothing but a bloody apron and an empty freezer. The police called it a cold case. Roy called it a lesson. With his inheritance, Roy opened a barbecue joint in a gentrifying part of East Austin. Roy's Smoke Pit had charm, exposed brick walls, hand-painted menus, and meat that tasted like it had been kissed by God himself. What no one knew was that Roy didn't just inherit his father's knife skills. He inherited his network and his appetite. Victims were mostly drifters, addicts, homeless folks no one would report missing. Roy called them ghost cuts. He'd bring them in, offer them food or work, and they never walked out. The staff didn't ask questions. Roy had rules. He handled the meat deliveries, and no one went into the back freezer. Ever. And then came Melanie. Melanie Blackwell was a waitress with a crooked smile and a past full of broken things. Roy spotted her working at a local diner, sharp, tired, pretty in a way that felt lived in. She liked the way he talked. Confident, gentle, respected. He proposed within 6 months. She said yes. Roy gave her the life she thought she'd never have. A custom kitchen, a new SUV, a house tucked behind sycamore trees. All he asked was that she never step into his business. Melanie kept her promise. For a while. It started with the meat logs. Roy always claimed the beef came from a local ranch, but Melanie noticed the deliveries had no paperwork. The boxes were unmarked. Sometimes Roy would vanish for an entire night and return with blood on his jeans, reeking of bleach. Then came the whispers. An employee was fired after asking about the freezer. A cook named Jamal quit without notice, leaving behind a note that just said, "Can't do this anymore." But it wasn't until Melanie's younger sister, Kayla, disappeared that everything unraveled. Kayla had come to stay with them for a few days, just passing through, she said, but she'd asked questions about Roy's meat, about the missing workers. Then one night, she walked out the front door and never came back. Roy said she probably ran off with a boyfriend. Melanie didn't believe him. 2 nights later, while Roy snored in a whiskey-fueled haze, Melanie snuck out of bed. She took the spare keys from his jeans, tiptoed into the garage, and drove to the restaurant. The place was dark, silent. She unlocked the walk-in freezer and stepped inside. At first, it looked normal. Vacuum-sealed bags, stacked neatly. But as she looked closer, the labels chilled her blood. Forearm, rib plate, thigh female. She tore open a package. Hair, skin, a tattoo she recognized. Kayla's. The next morning, Roy sat at the kitchen table sipping black coffee, humming old country songs. Melanie stood across from him, trembling. "I know what you did," she whispered. Roy didn't flinch. "I saw the freezer. I saw Kayla." He stirred his coffee. "You shouldn't have gone snooping, Mel." "It's over," she said. "I'm going to the police." Roy smiled. That smile was the last thing she saw before his coffee mug shattered against the wall and his hands were around her throat. Neighbors heard nothing. Melanie fought, but Roy was stronger, cleaner, practiced. When she stopped breathing, he didn't panic. He planned, dragged her body to the back shed, converted years ago into a private butchering room, the same table he'd used for 20 others. Stainless steel, hose-ready floors. He took his time. Every slice was personal, every cut an act of domination, of control. When the sun came up, Melanie was vacuum-sealed into 8 separate bags, labeled, stacked, stored. That weekend, Roy's Smoke Pit debuted a new burger. Roy called it the Widowmaker. It sold out in 3 days. Customers raved. Unbelievable flavor. So rich, so tender. Like nothing I've ever had. Roy smiled through it all, shaking hands, kissing babies, flipping meat on the grill like a man with nothing to hide. They had no idea they were eating his wife. No bones, no body, no evidence, just a flavor they'd never forget. Melanie was reported missing, but no one suspected Roy. He cried at the press conference, put up flyers, even offered a \$10,000 reward for tips. The case went cold, like so many others. So if you ever find yourself in Texas, and someone offers you a burger that tastes almost too good, ask what's in it. And maybe, just maybe, don't finish it. _____________________ If you have enjoyed this true crime event, please like, share the content, and subscribe to our page if you have not. Also, let us hear your thoughts in the comments.